Hey guys, it's Jake from Team Insanity. Normal uploading schedule every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sundays for reviews, vlogs, or just rants, that kind of stuff. Get your requests in for what you want to see, and hopefully we can get it in for you. So anyways, Pinokio Speed giveaway. I'll get to that in the end of the video. We are giving this away, but first things first, I'm going to review this thing first. Go watch the first impressions video too, so you can get the impressions of my opinion, can get Jacob's and Nick's opinion on what they think of the Pinokio Speed right out of the box when we first had it. Normally, there's a lid on it. I didn't bring the lid with me to Arizona. I live in Michigan, if you guys aren't a normal subscriber, and it's at home. But go like I said, go watch the first impressions video, and you can see what the lid is like. If you don't already know what the Pinokio lid is like, it's pretty big, and the tabs on it are pretty damn big. So if you're a lid player, I'd highly suggest the Pinokio for you. Number one, because the tabs are so big. Like on some of the hoppers, like the rotors and stuff. Not my favorite for lids, even though I do like the rotor. You know, I think the Pinokio Speed has a better lid than the rotor. It snaps down, and it doesn't have like the magnetic system like some the Halos do. Even the Z2, I really don't like the magnetic system, because then when you go to change it to a speed feed, then it's a pain in the ass, because you know, you have to, when you slide in a snake, the lid will fly open and all this other junk. I really don't like the magnet system, so I'm glad that they didn't put a magnet system in with this. They went with the good old trusty Pinokio lid that I don't have on here. I have the HK Army speed feed. Great speed feed, by the way. Go pick one up. I've used it on my Pinokio and this Pinokio. So we will clean this up before we send it to you. So let's get into the review. So like I said, good for the lid. By the way, Pinokio, these are like the most reliable hoppers I've ever had. My last Pinokio never had it jam on me once. Jacob's had his rotor jam on him. Doug has put his together wrong, and his is jammed on him. So, you know, rotors do tend to jam a little bit. Not so much Z2s and Spires. Z2s have jammed. I haven't really jammed up a rotor before. I haven't jammed up a Z2 before, but I've definitely jammed up a rotor. We've done some pretty shitty paint through this, and it doesn't work. But we put some pretty bad paint through the Pinokio Speed and my Pinokio, and it works perfectly fine. So, like I said, this thing is going to work absolutely amazing for you. Now, just for the size comparison, it holds like about 140. That's what I'd have to say that I have found of my paint. I'm shooting Marbleizer and Evil. So as you can see, the front is kind of a little bit wide. I mean, it's not like the normal Pinokio with like the big nose cone wide. It's not like that wide, but it's a little bit wide. Like if you guys know the Spires have like an arrow point, like a boat point. They look like a boat. They legit just all come to one big sharp point at the front, and the rotor comes to sort of like a soft, it kind of just round, it looks like someone took a piece of sandpaper and took it and sanded down sort of to the front. Like they kind of left this untouched and then just sanded down this area to get the nose. That's kind of what it looks like. This is just kind of a little bit fatter in the front than the rotor in the Spire. Like I said, go watch the first impressions video. We compared to a Spire too. Like those come to a nice sharp point, which would be especially really good. I like the lines on the Spire, especially if you're like a Dorito player. I really like the lines on the Spire, and it's nice and small on the front, and you really can get that nice tilted angle for when you're popping out of the Dorito. This, I have to say, it's really, really ugly. Yeah, and it doesn't have these nice, really amazing, cool, sharp lines on it like your Spires do, or even the Z2. I think the Z2s look kind of nifty. But yeah, this really looks kind of ugly. I'm not gonna lie. That's what we all say. We all think it looks uglier than hell. A lot of people that have seen it think it's uglier than hell, to be honest with you. It really is. I mean, I don't like the looks of it that much, but the performance of it is where it gets saved, to be honest with you. Like I said, I've never had one single jam with this thing. Now let me just take this pod. This is some pretty dimpled, sun-baked paint right now, and it's pretty soft. Now I'm going to show you, I haven't actually had, see, when you're loading it, if you have a full pod, it can be a little bit of a pain, because it doesn't hold as, there you go, now I got extra room in there for like an extra 5 balls. So I do have some extra room in there. I have enough for maybe like another quarter of a pod to maybe a half a pod if I can dump it in there right. If I'm playing like a speedball game, I'm not going to be able to like dump in a quarter of a pod and like shake it and get all that in there. So really, a full pod, you'll be good. And this is a normal 140 pod. So like I said, this paint is kind of garbage. Let me just turn it on so I can show you the speed rate of it. So it hauls pretty fast. But the problem is, the only problem with the speed is there's no ramp in it, say like the rotor, or I mean actually only the rotor. Only the rotor has the ramp in it. So what you get is an extra, usually 5 to 6, actually 5 on the money. Normally I find 5 to 7 balls are in the hopper at the very end. So, but if you're at the very end of the life, when you're at 5 balls left, normally 9 times out of 10 you're reloading. But if you're in a one-on-one situation and you don't have much paint left, then yeah, it's going to be a problem. That's the only thing. I wish there could have been some sort of ramp system. And so you see the rotor holds about the same when you're dumping it in. So I just got to put it in there. So as you can see to comparison, I couldn't really get the whole pot in there unless if I kind of tilt it down an angle a little bit, because it is a lot smaller than the normal Pinokio, than the last Pinokio that they came out with. And of course, the rotor is going to be the fastest, of course. And no popcorning. I think there's like an extra ball in there or something, but that doesn't really matter. So, of course, the rotor's fast, but this thing is fast enough it keeps up. Now, what I have to say, which is really awkward for me, is that the button is on the bottom. Okay, the operating button. I have no idea why it's down there, but I have to say that's a big con. That's the big problem that I have seen out on the field. So normally, when I get out there on the field, I always remember to turn on my hopper 9 times out of 10. I'll turn it on, and I usually just leave it on all day. It has a great battery life. All Pinokios do. I just leave it on all day. For the most part, you know, if I'm taking like a few hour break, I'll turn it off. But I usually maybe stand around for 5 to 10 minutes between each game, and I'm out there playing again. So normally, I just leave it on so I know that it's on. But the problem is if I do turn it off and I forget about it, is that when I'm playing and it's on my gun, I'll show you what it looks like on the gun. If I'm playing and it's on my gun, it's not the most easiest thing to just turn right on. It's a pain in the ass to just turn right back on. Because when I'm playing, I'll show you from there, when I'm playing and I'm shooting and everything, compared to the rotor, all there is just one little button right there where you just have to dink. Instead, I have to fish my finger under there to find that little button and figure out, oh, hey, look, the button, or, oh, look, I have to reach under there and press a button. Instead of it being right smack in the middle with the big bright LED on it. I like that about my last Pinokio. I like that about the rotor, and I like that about the Spire, is that it's right back where your eyeballs are at. Okay, it's right there. Now, if you have OCD or you have ADHD and you hate that there's an eyeball on your face the whole entire time, I get over it when I'm playing. I'm in the zone, but right before the game, when I look down, there's no button, there's no light right here. When I look down, okay, 5 seconds, and I put my gun there and want to quickly check, I can't really see. I can, but if it's light outside, I can't really see that button, or I can't really see the light down there at the bottom. Sometimes I can at indoor where it's really dark, but when I hear 3, 2, 1, 5 seconds, and I'm like, oh shit, let me see him, and I hop around, you know, no, I'm just used to having that big light right there, and that's not there, and it's really weird, really weird for me, and it's hard for me to adjust to having that. I think that I really wish that they could have put the button on the back like this. Oh, there's an extra 2 balls or 3 balls in there. I wish they could have had the button on the back just like this, because you know that it's on. Okay, you're not missing that. When you hear 3, 2, 1, 5 seconds, and then you look down, you can be like, oh shit, my rotor's not on. Okay, this has a little itty bitty button and a little light. I really wish that's just a con for me now. It's not like a big non-selling point where you're just like, oh, the button's on the bottom and everything. I can't buy it because the button's on the bottom. I mean, that's a little far-fetched. That's a little bit out there, but it is sort of weird for. I've had to adjust a little bit. That's the thing. I don't really necessarily like that about the speed, and I don't really like the looks. The other thing that I don't like about it, is that the battery, here I'll show you how to take it apart. So like the last Pinokio, there's just one little button, you push it down and it slides right out just like that. I need to clean it and everything, but it looks really small on the inside of there. The thing is that I really think Pinokio likes to waste space. I think that they probably could have made this a little bit bigger. Not bigger, but like a little, been able to fit at least 5 to 10 more balls on the inside back up here, or added a ramp, made it a little bit deeper kind of thing. But it is what it is. Now the thing is that I really that I don't hate it, but it's just kind of, it feels, you know, for the price, it's kind of awkward to put it back together. Like the difference between you know, like a supercar and a little piece of shit Ford Focus or something. Don't, if you drive Ford Focus, whatever, but you can tell the difference between a Lamborghini and the lines on the Lamborghini, and how, if you like just look down the body, you can tell the lines, just everything adds right up. You know, the doors are perfectly aligned, all the lines are perfect on the car, and it looks spot on. But when you look at, like, you know, an entry level, you know, low end $5,000 car, and you look down the side of that car, you know, normally that you can see like the big door line, and you just see a bunch of extra lines. If you're a car guy and you know what I'm talking about, you know, that's what this is like. This is like the $5, or this is like the $5,000 used car that has, like, the door isn't in all the way, the lines aren't, the spoiler isn't matched up with the trunk of the car, or whatever. It's just kind of sloppy. That's what I really feel like this is like, especially putting it back on. Like, if you don't put it on like the right way, it just doesn't really, you know. But then again, I mean, you just see the lines on this thing, like, it just kind of, it bothers me. Like, there's a big gap right here, like the gap between, like on a Pontiac G6 or whatever, between the spoiler and the, like, you can tell where the trunk line is at, because there's like this much of a gap on it, and it looks like shit. That's sort of what this is like. There's just sort of like a big gap right there. I just really don't like it that much, and there's a big gap right here that paint has gotten into, and there's just a big line going all the way across. I wish it would have all fit nice together like the rotor. You don't really have that. You know, you can see where the line is at, but it all fits together like perfectly, I think. You know, when you look at the rotor or the spire, you don't like see the big ugly gaps and lines that there is in this thing. It's just kind of to me, you know. In this, there's no out of sort lines, and there's no big gaps like there is on this. And it's just kind of weird to me. It looks, and the thing I'm getting at is it just looks cheap. That's the thing. It really just looks sort of cheap. The same thing with the battery cover. Now, it does run on 2 9-volt batteries. Now, I have not had a problem until now in Arizona. I accidentally kind of left it out in the sun, and my batteries got drained, because the heat in the sun drains batteries. But I use rechargeable batteries, 9 volts. I wouldn't suggest that in your gun, but in the hopper, I like doing that. And I put rechargeable 9 volts in there, and since we got it from the unboxing video, they have been working flawless until I left it out in the sun, and it was going strong. I just changed the batteries. Fuck you, bitch. Talking shit. So put the battery cover back on. It's sort of like the front nose. You just kind of have to line it up, and like I said, it just kind of looks cheaply made, really. The line, I mean, sometimes it doesn't want to work and line up perfectly. I mean, like, the back is just kind of popping out a little. I don't know, it just seems sort of cheap to me, I guess. I don't know, but it feels really nice. Like, it feels really nice in the hand. Like, it's nice plastic. It's a really nice, strong plastic, and I dive into snake with this all the time. It's durable as hell. So, if you're a snake player and you really want a smaller hopper, and you don't want the big Pinokio, I could care less, because I really don't get shot in the hopper that often. But, you know, if you want a nice, really low profile, and you don't have the money for the rotor, then this is a great second choice, or even a Spire, because the Spire is even more than the rotor. This is an amazing choice, and the thing is that it's simple. You know how you clean this? What you do? You just take off the nose, you take a spray bottle, and you just spray all around in there, squirt it all out, keep it like this so the water won't go and sit in the board. I've gotten the board wet before, but I mean, works perfectly fine. You squirt in there and all the shit comes out. You wipe it down in there. To take apart the rotor, if you don't know, you have to pop up this little collar, take this half off, and then you have to like take this tray out and all this other stuff in there. It is toolless, but it is a pain in the ass. So this is really simple, really easy to clean after a day. Now how this operates is that there's no eyes, but there's a bend sensor in there. So there's a little I mean, I can't really see it on camera. If you've seen a Pinokio before, then you know what I'm talking about. But it's like it's almost like a big thick piece of plastic, but I mean it's like it's not. You know, it's almost like what the old floppy disks are made out of. That's what Mike from TechBB said, and I mean it sort of is like that, but it's strong as hell. I've never broken a bend sensor before, but what it is that when a ball comes across, there's no eyes or anything. When a ball brushes across it, you can hear it go off. So as you're shooting, then it's going. So there's no eyes or anything, which is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. See, that's a good thing because it saves weight and you don't have eye wires everywhere and it's easier to clean. But the bad thing is that when it's on and you have those last few balls in there, or say you have a handful of balls in there, is that this won't feed and this won't move unless if it hits that bend sensor. Then it'll kick on. That's when it'll spin and kick on. So if you're in a low paint situation and no paint is getting there, then it sort of turns into like a shake and shoot hopper in a way, because then you have to like sit there and shake it and wait until it gets to the bend sensor to finally get that rotation to get the balls going. Now, like I said, this thing is never jammed. Put shitty paint in there, reliable as hell. Rotors do jam, but you know that's the thing with the rotor, is that it's continuously rotating a rotor. So if you do have like 5 or 10 balls left or whatever, you're going to get those 5 or 10 balls left on that last burst. Maybe you're getting that guy on the one-on-one when he's trying to run that lane. You're going to get that last burst. You're going to get that last shot. You're going to get that nice crisp lane with those last few paint, with that last paint. Same with eyes. Unless if the eyes are blocked on like a Z2, that thing is spinning. This thing is not spinning unless if a ball brushes up against it in a bend sensor. So if there's no balls in there, or if it's sort of like stuck, it doesn't really get jammed, but if it's like stuck on the feeding tube and you have to shake it, I've only had it happen like maybe 2 or 3 times, but it is a little concern. It's like that with all Pinokios. It doesn't, maybe once every like 4 or 5 months, someone will walk out in front of me and I'll have really low paint and I go tick, 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 and it won't shoot, and I sort of have to shake it and it'll feed the bend sensor and I can shoot that last little bit of paint. It really rarely ever happens because I'm always dumping pods in, but if I'm only carrying like 1 or 2 pods out there the last game of the day or whatever because I don't have much paint left, then it does happen every now and then, but it's nothing to really be too worried about. Now the thing is with the speed feed is, like I said, I really do love the speed feed because it clips on. And the thing about the rotor, I'm trying not to like necessarily compare them, but I know people, if you don't know, the rotor, you have to take it apart, take out these screws and all that stuff, and then align up the speed feed. This, there is a little screw right there. You take a number 1 screwdriver, you unscrew that. What I did is I opened up the lid and I took my finger and I did a reverse claw game motion, so I opened it up, so I spread the shell a little bit, which will spread this, and I just put my hand in there and opened it up, and then it spread the shell just a little bit like that, and then I just kind of shook it and it fell out. Now hopefully for the giveaway, I think I have the lid sitting around someplace. If I don't, then we'll just put a speed feed on there. I'll let you have mine or whatever. It's fine. So yeah, that's the whole speed feed thing. And then you just take the screwdriver, or just take the screw and the screwdriver, screw it back in, bada bing, bada boom, easy, simple. And also the other thing is that it is a universal halo speed feed. But the thing is with the Pinokios, that the halos don't have, like I said, the halos are on a magnet system, so you actually had to like drill. With my halo, I had to drill mine. I had to drill my speed feed into the hopper because the lip, there was really not much of a lip to be there. There really wasn't that the speed feed would sit on. This actually has a nice lip that your speed feed won't be falling off of, which is really, really neat. I like it. It works. Hate the magnet system. So overall, I do love the Pinokio speed. I use it all the time. I really haven't had any issues with it. Haven't had any feeding issues. Never jammed. But, you know, like I said, it looks ugly. The lines, there is sort of bigger gaps on it. And, yeah, I don't really like the looks of it. But the performance of it, it shoots great. I don't really like the rotor because it's heavy. This is super, super light. I mean, not necessarily I don't like the rotor because it's heavier. I mean, it's still pretty light, but if you put a rotor next to Pinokio speed, this feels like a brick compared to this, because this is nothing. This has a bunch of internal stuff. I used a rotor for the last few tournaments that we played in, and I didn't mind it. I don't use a rotor on a daily basis. I still use my Pinokios, but if you don't have the money to afford something like a rotor or a Z2 or something along the lines of that, and you're trying to budget yourself a little bit more, and you're pinching every single penny like some paintballers do, I'd highly suggest this Pinokio speed. That's where I really like it, is the price. I think that it probably will come down in the future, but I do like the price of it compared to the $190 or $180 rotor and then the $5,000 Spire. But with that being said, if you can't afford a Spire or a rotor, that kind of stuff, then get the Pinokio speed. Or if you're playing pump, this is another thing, if you're playing pump and you really like having a very, very simple, easy, and light setup, this is the lightest hopper out of the Spire in the rotor. This is the lightest. So I know some people like to have a loader that actually feeds. Why? I don't know. I guess you guys just rip on pumps and you can shoot like it's a semi. And if you're one of those people and you don't feel like buying a rotor because it's a little bit heavier, which I know someone that didn't buy a rotor because it was a little bit heavier, and they ended up buying the speed because it's lighter and it's just as small. Like I said, it's adds up. It's really, really small. But you know, other than the light, and the other thing is that it does sit weird on the gun. It does kind of sit weird on guns. Let me just put it on there for you. Kind of sits up a little bit forward. Just get the feed neck out. Kind of sits forward a little bit. The other thing that I noticed with my die feed neck is that I don't really have OCD, but you know, I like to look ag. Actually, I just have OCD. And this little feed neck lever, this little useless piece of shit here, which I have no idea. Like I said, they like to waste space. I don't know why this is here. I wish they could have just cut that off. The little feed neck lever just kind of gets in the way of it, and then it's not straight on the back, but that's not like a deal breaker. So overall, I do like the Pinokio speed. I think it's a great pickup, but if you can get past some people don't like the looks of it. If you can't get past where the button is at and the lines of it and how ugly it looks, I definitely wouldn't just drop everything and sell your rotor to pick up the Pinokio. But then again, if you just have nothing but problems with your rotor and it only jams, or say you won't have jamming issues with the Spire, but you don't like your Spire, then the Pinokio is a great second. Or like I said, if you're on a budget, this thing will never jam on you. I've shot some really shitty paint through it. Won't break paint. It's super soft, super gentle on paint. But most hoppers this day and age they're not going to really be breaking paint. So you know, like I said, it's just kind of up there. Am I going to buy one? You know, I don't know. I might. I haven't figured it out yet. That one's the teams, and I don't know if I'm going to buy one yet or not. I'm kind of happy with it. I probably wouldn't, like, you know, I wouldn't buy a rotor over the Pinokio speed, but that's just me because I don't like the price of it. But I mean, hey, I still think it's a little bit up there in price, but I don't know. I'd probably buy one, but hey guys, it's Jake. After the review, that review was done in Arizona, and the number that we had for the giveaway for the Pinokio speed was actually a lot. We passed that number really fucking fast and quicker than we got the video up, so we've kind of been delaying the video, but we're now getting this video up, so we're going to give it away at 5,600 subscribers. So the way to win it is, if you guys don't remember in the bios, the way to do it is you have to be subscribed to us on YouTube. That's going to give you your automatic one entry. You have to be subscribed no matter what. And once you're subscribed, we go on to the list. We pick like 80 random people. We do a number generator, so we pick random 80 people, we put those names in a bowl, and then you also have to go like us on Facebook for another entry. Those aren't mandatory. The Facebook one is not mandatory, but if you like us on Facebook, then you get a bonus entry, you get an extra entry. So if you go like us on Facebook, link is in the description, then we'll get, we go through our whole Facebook likes, who likes us and all that stuff, and we compile another 30 or 40 names. We put that in another bowl, and then we also have a picture on our Facebook that you can share. And if you share that picture, that gives you one more entry, so there's 3 entries total. You don't have to do the Facebook one. You don't have to have a Facebook or anything to get into this. But the thing is if you don't have a Facebook and you want to get into the Facebook entry and you make a fake Facebook, don't forget what the login to that Facebook is, because the thing is if you forget that and you win, there's no way that we can contact you, okay? So if you make a random Billy Bob Facebook and then you try to message us on YouTube and say, hey, I forgot my Facebook login, we're going to say, no, sorry, we can't do that, because we could have 80 people do that and try to get the Pinokio speed for free when they didn't win. So you have to remember that. Not everyone has a Facebook. You don't even have to upload a profile picture. So if you don't have Facebook, if you hate social media, that's fine. You don't have to enter Facebook, but if you would like, just make a fake Facebook, and you have to be able to contact us, because if you do win and you are one of the Facebook winners, then we have to be able to contact you. And there's going to be 3 winners. 3 winners. There's only one real person that gets it. There's a first, second, and third place winner. So what we do is if we pull out we're going to pull out 3 names. The first name that we pull out is first place. Okay, we're going to say XX Quickscope XX wins the giveaway. Okay, you have 48 hours to contact us. Now the second and third place winners, if the first place winner doesn't XX Quickscopes doesn't message us, then the second place winner gets it, okay? And say that was, Billy Bob on Facebook, and say Billy Bob doesn't message us, then the person in third place gets the opportunity to win. And the reason why we do 3, first, second, and third place is because if we make a long ass video on drawing names and putting names in a bowl, and the person doesn't contact us, or the YouTube account that subscribed to us is like 5 years old and they don't use it anymore, then, that's just kind of a wasted video and a waste of your guys' time to watch. So we do 3 winners, and if the first place guy doesn't respond or isn't there, then, that kind of stuff. So, international people, I know that we have international viewers, all that good stuff. If you guys are international, you can still enter this, no problem, but you have to pay your shipping, okay? So if you guys are overseas, nice Canada, Mexico, anywhere other than the United States, you have to pay for your shipping, because we're not about to shell out $40 to ship a Pinokio to you when we already paid $130 for it. So that being said, you get a hopper for $40 or however much that costs to ship it to you. So if you are international, you can enter, but you just have to pay your own shipping. So that's basically it. Go onto the Facebook, share the picture. It is really easy if you put 3 out of 3 on the picture, because then we know who shared it, and it just takes a lot less time. But you don't have to do that. No matter what, we're still going to go through who shared it and everything, and who likes us on Facebook. But thanks again, guys. Thanks for all your support. And we have a few more giveaways coming up in the future. So if you guys missed this one, if you're a late subscriber and you're just watching the review a few months after we gave it away, or after that number that we hit, sucks to suck, but we have a mini GS coming and a few other giveaways coming up soon. So thanks for watching.